Oh, honey, tell the Golden Girls about the Tic-Tac.
Talk.
About what?
TikTok.
Oh, I don't know very much about class.
It's an app.
Oh, I do love pigs in a blanket.
The food or the men you have sleep over?
Both.
Oh my God, it's a thing for your cell phone.
Wait, I didn't get a phone in my cell.
He's not talking about prison, Ma.
I quit.
Typical millennial.
Well, that's what happens when you give them all trophies.
You know, these kids can't even tell time anymore.
Which is why they need TikTok.
I
get it now. I get it.
You take the clock TikToks.
Good evening, good evening. We're back at it. Look at it. 2 days in this week. And y'all, he about to kill me for this. Once again, thank you for joining me here for Conversations with Taz. Think about it Thursday. But my cousin is about to kill me. He about to kill me. Can everybody wish him a happy belated birthday? His birthday was yesterday, y'all. Happy birthday. Now, let's get into it because we got a lot of updates to get into before we get into the story of the day. So let's start with the migrant shipwreck.
All right, let's talk about it. On June 14th, a fishing vessel capsized about 54 miles off the coast of Greece. And the country is saying this is one of its biggest ever migrant tragedies. At least 82 people have been confirmed dead so far, and over 100 people have been rescued, all men. The survivors have suggested that as many as 750 people may have been on board. There are a lot of conflicting reports about why the vessel capsized. So, Greece and the United Nations were first alerted about the boat on June 13th. Now, the Greek Coast Guard is claiming that they did not intervene for upwards of 15 hours because they're claiming that the people on board refused offers for help. One more time, activists are saying the Greek Coast Guard refused aid while people on board were pleading for help for 15 hours. Now, this is the same week that we have the manhunt for the 5 billionaires who got in the sketchy sub. Now, the UN is calling this one of the deadliest tragedies in the last couple of years. Now, there's some conflicting reports as to why it capsized. One theory is that when authorities tried to tow the boat to shore, it capsized due to them tying the ropes in the wrong places. Another theory is that it radioed about engine problems, so with no power to go into the waves, it probably got broadsided and sank just from being overloaded. Probably the most tragic theory is that the boat was capsized on purpose. There have been instances of intentional capsizing of smaller boats to force a rescue once authorities engage with them at sea and negate any possibility of being told to turn back. So after my personal reading, it just doesn't seem like this is the case. This was a really large fishing vessel with upwards of 700 people on board. This seems more like massive overload. But as I mentioned before, all 104 survivors so far were men aged between 16 and 40, meaning all of the women and children, estimated to be 100 children, all of them were stuck below deck when this vessel capsized. So why does this keep happening? From January to March of this year, nearly 36,000 refugees have arrived in the Mediterranean region of Europe. It's nearly twice the number compared to the same period of 2022. According to the UN's refugee agency, it's the highest number since the refugee crisis that peaked in 2015. And so far this year, more than 98% of those refugees have arrived by sea against 2% coming on land. This really captures the lack of safe and legal routes available to refugees and asylum seekers. People flee dangerous situations. Why are they taking these risks and getting onto these overcrowded boats? Because there are no safe and legal options. They have no choice. Every year, tens of thousands of refugees flee war and persecution and come to Europe in search of safety and survival. But lack of safe and legal migration corridors available for refugees and asylum seekers leads to deadly consequences. Our political leaders' failures prioritize things like borders over human lives. This is overshadowed by 5 morons sinking in a tank.
Now, this is the second day that I brought this to your attention because it took a while for me to even know that this was going on. But see how they're covering up that, oh, they didn't want help. Really? I don't care how strong of a swimmer you are. A boat
15 hours?
Yeah, a boat capsizing is traumatic because you can get trapped underneath that boat. Also, you're not sure about any debris that might be floating around that could injure you, that could draw wildlife up to you, that could make you prey, all these different things. And no matter how strong of a swimmer you are, you can only tread water for so long. You can only swim for so long. And yes, is it easier to swim in the ocean than in a chlorine-riddled pool? Absolutely. Absolutely. My cousin will tell you, I prefer to swim in the ocean because it's easier for me to swim in the ocean. But if I can't see land, one, how am I supposed to know what direction to swim into? Two, if you can't see land, you have no idea how far away you are. So you have to truly, truly pace yourself. And it's not like being on land where you can just sit down and rest for a while. Where are you going to sit at? And the way that vessel looked, there weren't enough life jackets for everybody. I didn't even see rafts. Now, that doesn't mean that there weren't inflatables around, but when you're capsizing, fight or flight kicks in. You're not thinking, oh, run over here and grab this. Run. And as much as they were packed in, couldn't nobody run nowhere.
I'm going to say this, and I really want people to understand. Because me and my cousin, we were having a discussion earlier about, slave ships and how they were basically packed in like sardines on top of each other, laying in their own excrement at points, or for the whole entire journey, because that's where they were supposed to go to the bathroom. And then on top of that, they get fed moldy, if not any food at all. And you're making a point of searching, and I'm not saying you shouldn't search for everyone.
I am.
At this particular point, I know people have lost their lives. Hey, these particular people have lost their lives, but you shouldn't have gotten on that boat. It literally mentioned in the contract 3 times that you could die here. It literally said that. So you got on that boat of your own free will.
My thing is, when you have that much money, you have concierge doctors, you have concierge everything. Why don't they have concierge? Actually, they do. They do have companies that are first responders for the rich. Why weren't they the ones to go do it? And I'm sorry, send their families the bill. Send their families the bill, because the families already have enough evidence to completely shut down this company. Sorry for the widow, but your husband was on there too, and he knew what he was doing, and you let him piecemeal and 5-minute craft his way to death. Maybe you just didn't like him. I don't know. But we're going to get to her and her history and my further thoughts on that later on in the show when we break down the Oceangate. But
Oceangate.
That's what the name of the company is, Oceangate. I didn't make it up.
No, I know.
They knew that it was going to be a scandal. But my thing is, send them the bill. Because if I do some dumb stuff, like there are places in the United States that if you put yourself in danger, you are totally responsible for it. And even if, because I have some medical conditions that if I don't follow certain rules, or people don't know that I'm allergic to certain things, or, certain things can happen, that ambulance ride to the hospital, that's on me. That is on me. You got international aid coming to you because you did something stupid. But a boatload of people who are seeking asylum who are seeking safety. Y'all just gonna let them drown. This is why the ocean is revolting right now, because the ancestors are talking to these animals, going, you know what? We waited long enough for y'all to eat these bitches. We gonna do it.
I'm just like, here's the thing. We have, I'm not even gonna say we. I'm really not. I'm really not, because we have been standing in the gap for the shenanigans that has been perpetrated on this planet. We have tried our very level best to keep these people alive. Although at this particular point, I don't know why we have done so.
Yeah, true, but that ain't all. Let's get into a certain hospital turning over the medical records of the trans community.
Pride Month in Tennessee, and how's that going? So the story comes from the Tennessee Holler, and here is the tweet. We're being told Vanderbilt has sent emails that they regret to inform people they're being required to release records of any trans person that was on a state-sponsored insurance plan to the Tennessee Attorney General in response to a civil investigation. Well, that's a frightening story happening here in Tennessee. It seems that Governor Bill Lee is likely behind this, because about 9 months ago, he made comments implying that Vandy was breaking laws with their trans care program, even though the governor never specifically named what laws were being broken or who was being harmed. Shame on you, Bill Lee. Shame on you, Vanderbilt, for handing over those records without a fight. You handed over records of a community that has been attacked, marginalized, discredited by the governor and his cronies. And a major concern is, why do they need the list? Why are they keeping tabs of people in the trans community? It is alarming, because this has been done before in history. I don't know, 1940s Germany, certain dictator whose name I can't mention. Yeah, it's frightening. And all of this is happening in Tennessee during Pride Month. I guess Bill Lee was mad. He lost his lawsuit, and now he's going to go after people. It's disgusting. More people need to talk about this. Tell people this is dangerous to a community, especially when Bill Lee is behind it. So continue to speak out, continue to support the LGBTQ community. Bill Lee, you're a disgusting man. Pride Month in Tennessee, and how's that going?
Now I want to point out something that I'm pretty sure, give me 1 second. I'm going to point out something that I'm pretty sure nobody was thinking about. When y'all let legislation go by and you back these people because, culture war, they're throwing it down our throats. When y'all share this shit between each other and you have notifications on for things that you claim you don't like, they overturned Roe v. Wade. They're utilizing this fake war on the trans community. Ladies, hear me out, especially white women, because they don't care about the rest of us procreating. They tried to guilt us Black women so that we will get on board and do the labor once again for white women, but we're not doing that. We hung up our capes a long time ago. They're doing this because this is a backdoor into them getting your records. This is a backdoor into them getting access to when you have your cycle, if you have a cycle anymore, what birth control you're on, because they're coming for birth control also. See, you're thinking that this is just going to affect one community. The only time trickle down ever works is when there's a war on a certain community, because they will find a new community to target, to still get to and control you. Because white women, you are the key to them staying in power. Because they know once they can shut you up and sit you down, you're going to yes master them all through the house. You're going, yeah, I'm a traditional woman. Yeah, I don't look at all the women that are like, yeah, let's roll the clock back to 1776. No, women shouldn't have the right to vote. Yeah, we should be traditional women. And these are women in politics. These are women who got an education and became CEOs and are willing to throw it away. Why? Because things are getting tough at home. Because they know that legislation is trickling down, and they need to make sure that they ain't gonna get no skippity paps, some bippity boppity boos on top of the hippity hoppity head. Go ahead.
So, white women, I need you to come close. Come close. Black women, y'all sit down. Y'all done enough. Y'all have done enough. Hang up your boxing gloves. Put your cape over there. Burn it at this point. Burn it. Burn it. White women, I'm speaking to you. You have been the Bonnie to the Clyde for the last 400 and some odd years, and still not realizing that you ain't getting a fair share at all. But you still help. You still help them. You don't even notice that you got the choker around your neck. I said this. I'm pretty sure I've said this. You literally do not realize that they are still pulling that chain on your neck because you think that you're not getting affected. Well, baby, now Roe versus Wade is gone. How's that? How's them abortions working out for you? Because blue states is still, for the most part, giving you what you need. If you live in a red state, you hit. Let's also talk about how y'all are letting them do things to people who shouldn't have things done to them because they're too young. Y'all are just letting that run rampant.
About the Republicans who, what was it, yesterday, day before yesterday?
I think it was the day before yesterday.
Voted against making child marriage legal, meaning you could take a child bride, because they're not worried about forcing a young boy to get married.
Of course not. Why would you worry about that? No offense to us men, but for as long as we're alive and we can get it up, we can still father children, unfortunately.
Yeah, but ain't no woman out here trying to control a young boy.
I know. That's what I'm saying. They ain't worried about the boys. They're worried about the girls.
Because they want to control them. That's why they always say, all these little red pill podcast bros.
Oh God.
I can raise her. I can train her. What the fuck? We're not puppies. And for those of y'all that think that I'm joking, because first of all, white women, I don't know how many times I can tell y'all, everybody else is listed within the Constitution as a human being but you. Because somewhere in the Constitution, outside of you being given the right to vote, where does it say that you are a human being? Everyone else it's been amended for them to be considered a human being. Even us black folk. We went from 3/4 of a person to a whole person. But y'all ain't never been noted as human. And this is why we end up with our next video, the Moms for Liberty.
Oh, Lord.
I am quite literally shaking as I'm recording this. Please stop scrolling and please interact, comment, share, like, do what you need to do. This is my local Moms for Liberty chapter. I live in Hamilton County, Indiana, and this was a newsletter that was just put out. It quotes Adolf Hitler. This is the leader of our chapter here, Paige Miller. They are saying the quiet part out loud. They're saying the part that we have been saying this whole time. This is a hate group. This is America. We will not fall to fascism. We will not fall to Nazism. We will not stand for hate groups like Moms for Liberty.
So if you have children, you have them all. This is what they're standing for. And y'all stop telling me that racism is not a driving force within the United States, because it is. Because it is. And who gave y'all a voice once again? Oh, the man who was born with Hitler's glizzy down his throat. Trump. Y'all know him as Trump. And guess what? I did bring this to you all slightly as breaking news last night because we didn't have all the details we have now, but it was noted that last night discovery was being passed along to the defense. Let's break that down. Get comfy.
We have more in the breaking news of the night that Special Prosecutor Jack Smith has handed over to Donald Trump's criminal defense lawyers all of the grand jury testimony in the investigation, the names of all the witnesses who testified, and the entirety of their testimony in transcript form. We now have the court filing made in court tonight by Jack Smith. It says that included in what has been handed over to Donald Trump's lawyers. It includes documents obtained via subpoena, evidence obtained via search warrant, transcripts of grand jury testimony taken in the District of Columbia, grand jury testimony taken before a grand jury in the Southern District of Florida. As you know, most of the grand jury testimony was taken in Washington, D.C., but some was taken in Florida. It also includes notes about witness interviews conducted right up until May 12th of 2023. Included in this this document is the note that public statements made by Donald Trump are included in the discovery, the prosecution's evidence of this case. And obviously, those include recent statements, possibly, that Donald Trump has made. Also, on page 3 of this filing, it says the government will disclose any payments, promises of immunity, leniency, preferential treatment, or other inducements made to prospective government witnesses. Back with us is Andrew Weissman. Andrew, what do you make of it now that we can see the entirety in detail of what Jack Smith has handed over and what he plans to hand over very soon?
Couple things. To be super in the weeds, one of the things that was notable was the government turned over the grand jury testimony of the co-defendant, Mr. Nauta, and his testimony was taken in June of 2022, and that's just a few days before the government issued a grand jury subpoena for video surveillance at Mar-a-Lago. So it's clear that the government was onto what was going on already. And there must be, I think, something they learned either from Mr. Nauta's grand jury testimony or from what is labeled employee 1 and 2 that led them to want to get that video surveillance. But it's really interesting that Mr. Nauta was in the grand jury very early in this investigation. And I would assume that the charges with respect to lying are very much emanate from the kinds of things he said in that grand jury testimony. He also was interviewed by the FBI separately, and those notes have been turned over, and those are going to be part of the false statement case against him. The other thing, Lawrence, which is really important for people to understand, is these kinds of witness interview notes, by law, do not have to be turned over by the government until the witness has testified at trial. I mean, just think about how late that is, that these notes can be turned over during the trial. Now, as a practical matter, no federal prosecutor does that because the judge is going to be furious if they have to delay a case. But the law does not require this material to be turned over sooner. To me, what's happening here really signals that the government is ready. They have all of their ducks in a row, and they are not playing games. They are saying, here is all of the information because we're going to want to go to trial.
Andrew, if Donald Trump gives an interview next week or the week before the trial, a TV interview, can the prosecution use that even though it's not part of the pretrial discovery evidence?
Yes. What the government would do is they would have to disclose to the defense that they intend to use it, and they would turn over a transcript or a video of that or both. So you can't surprise the defense with respect to that information. But the fact that you don't have it now is a really good reason for why you haven't turned it over. But if Donald Trump continues to talk, all of that information can be turned over subsequently, and a court's not going to say it's out of bounds because, you know what, if the defendant didn't want that to happen, he didn't have to speak.
Yeah, and they make clear in this document that they're handing over complete copies of the closed circuit television footage obtained by the government. That's the security footage at Mar-a-Lago that shows the boxes being moved. They then go on to say, we're also pointing out highlights in that video footage. So you don't have to sit there and watch 24 hours of it in this space where nothing's happening. They're being as helpful as they possibly can to Donald Trump's lawyers, which really reads in this document like a very powerful sign of confidence. Like they're just saying, here, look at all of this. Look at every bit of it. This is the case against this defendant.
That is absolutely right. It is fairly standard in a case that involves really voluminous discovery. This is not such a case, by the way. Enron, which I worked on, that's a case which involves voluminous discovery, where you're talking about millions and millions of terabytes of data that are being given to the defense. So it's pretty common to try and give a bit of a roadmap to the defense as to at least what you think is important and what you're going to use in your case. Here, where there's a much more limited amount of discovery, what it signals to me is exactly what you said, that the government is trying to be as helpful as it can because it has something in mind, which is a speedy trial. And that's the reason it's preparing these kinds of summaries to try and help the defense isolate what is most important. To be fair to the defense, having been a defense lawyer, you can't just take what the government says is key. You have to do your own investigation to decide whether that's really everything that you'd want to look at.
And Andrew, it seems to also be a message to Judge Cannon tonight, where this prosecution is saying not 1 minute of delay in this case will be because of the prosecution.
Absolutely. I have been in that situation as well, where you want on your first day that you would show up in court, you want to be able to say to the judge, we have turned everything over. There is no gamesmanship here. There's going to be no delay. We are not dragging our feet, because you want to make sure the judge gets that you're a professional, you're by the book. And in this case, again, it's all about the clock, making sure that Judge Cannon knows that the government is going to be really on top of their game and discovery and the rules to make sure that they can get as speedy as trial as possible, consistent with due process for the defendants.
Jack Smith, the special prosecutor who is investigating Donald Trump for the Mar-a-Lago documents matters, has had his team send discovery information to Trump's defense team. What is discovery information? Well, when you have a lawsuit, each side has to deliver to the other side the documents and evidence that they have produced. In this case, Smith's team has sent to Trump's team witness lists, transcripts of testimony in front of the grand jury, and audio recordings of Trump himself. Why is this important? At least for a couple reasons. One is the speed with which Smith's team has done this. If a trial is going to happen in August, then things need to happen quickly, and that's what Smith is doing. Second, it will start to give Trump's team an idea of the evidence that has been accumulated against Trump. He will get to see who is going to be testifying against him as government witnesses and what they said in front of the grand jury. He will also know what audio recordings Smith has of Trump in his own words. There will be more information changing hands, but Trump's lawyers are going to have their hands full evaluating all this information and trying to decide just how strong the government's case is.
As I've told you all before, and link to this profile and every profile I've had, if you haven't been following my blog, like I keep saying, Trump is handing the DOJ and everyone else their cases on a silver platter. And this is why Trump has been, for the lack of a better word, sanctioned to the point where, as discovery is being turned over, he can only view it within his attorney's office with his attorneys present, because Trump can hold water about as well as a colander. Not at all. You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry. Not a colander. So I'm going to say this. One, I'm just like, sir, if I was his lawyer, by some stretch of the imagination, because I'd be billing him for even hours that I'm not even on the clock, and I'd be billing it directly from his bank account. I'm literally taking the access codes. I would literally lock him in a room. He's not allowed to go anywhere. Like, anywhere. I don't care. Because I'm like, dude, you're literally giving them evidence.
And I thought I was going to have more of his comment vomit today because he went live on Telegram with Elon Musk, but yet again, they would not give me access because you have to request to join the live, and every single time I request to join the live, I am denied access. I'm not saying that
you should have told me. I would have gotten you access. I would have given you my thing.
I'm a big deal. That's not what I'm saying. But every single time I click for
Child, you should have told me. I would have tuned in for you.
My thing is, I think he made a list of people he blocked when he was still over on the Twitter. Because I was one of the people that he blocked before the Supreme Court was like, you are a government official. You can't block folks, which is true. You can't serve the people and block the people. Like, you got to hear all of us, even though you disagree with us. But you know what? The king, the emperor, if you will, of free speech said that, if you violate the free speech rules on Twitter, you would start off with a little suspension and then you could be permanently banned. But you're not going to believe what he considers a slur that could get you banned. Or maybe you will. Maybe you will.
I think I saw this yesterday.
It was Elon Musk that Trump was doing the whole Telegram live with, because if DeSantis does it, Trump has to do it. If Trump has to do it, DeSantis has to do it. So here we go.
Elon Musk has declared the words cis and cisgender are slurs on Twitter. The platform CEO has warned repeated targeted harassment against any account will cause the harassing accounts to receive, at minimum, temporary suspensions. Musk made this statement in response to anti-trans commentator James Esses, who received messages from trans activists using the term sissy after Esses tweeted, "I reject the word cis and don't wish to be called it." He claims he was told that he is cis whether or not he likes it. Twitter's guidelines define slurs as language intending to degrade or reinforce negative stereotypes about a protected category, meaning that for cis to be a slur, cisgender people would have to be a protected category, which is not the case. Cisgender refers to people whose gender identity and assigned sex at birth align, whereas transgender refers to those whose gender identity and assigned sex at birth do not match. Notably, other social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram do not classify cis as a slur. Musk's statement comes after Twitter quietly dropped its policy protecting trans people from dead naming and misgendering. GLAAD's research showed that Twitter, along with other major social media platforms, consistently failed to protect LGBTQ+ people from abuse, receiving a low score of 33% in the Social Media Safety Index. GLAAD urged Twitter to reinstate its dead naming and misgendering policy to improve safety for LGBTQ+ individuals.
Real quick, if you are non-white and you were offended by the term cisgendered, sit down and shut the fuck up. If you are non-white and you're saying that being a member of the trans community is a mental condition, a mental health condition, sit down and shut the fuck up. Because all of this is rooted in white supremacy. And before you say that I'm reaching without stretching, I don't ever reach, baby, because I don't like to stretch. All right? All right. It is, because they're using, and all they do is, hateful people are not creative people. They reuse the same talking points. All they do is change Black, Native, Asian, etc. for gay, trans, not Christian. That's all they do. That's all they do. Because they used to say not wanting to be a slave was a mental condition. Wanting to vote was a mental condition. Not wanting drunk drivers on the road was. So if you think it's a slur to be called cisgendered, then do you want to be called trans? Because you're projecting the fact that you find something wrong with being a part of the trans community. You use trans as a slur, so you're projecting it. Baby, you're cis. You were born female or male, and you identify with being female or male. And I'm only using those two because that's the only two that when you're born that they put on your birth certificate. Non-binary folks, you know I love you. You know I see you. You matter to me. I'm just saying, as far as why the term cis came about. Go ahead, cousin.
Hey, dudes, I want you to listen to me. By every stretch of the imagination, you're already trans.
Yeah, because you started off female in vitro. Well, in utero. I'm sorry, in utero.
Because technically speaking, we shouldn't have nipples. Just saying, just throwing it out there.
And my thing is, men can develop breasts, and there have been occasions that men have been able to produce milk for their babies. I have seen several, and I've heard several accounts. And actually, when I was pregnant with my oldest child, in that Lamaze class, there was a young woman, not much older than me. The
Wait,
father,
how old were you?
we're not going to discuss that. I'm just saying we were the closest in age out of the whole class. There were some very mature madams that were finally ready to have some babies, but I'm not going to out
Good
there.
Lord. She said mature.
We are still friends to this day. So I'm not going to put their ages out there. That's their business.
All right, Tabitha.
As Auntie Tabitha Brown says, that's your business. Okay? So that's their business. But this her child's father, because she wasn't able to produce milk. I don't know why. I didn't ask. It wasn't my business. But he started to lactate. It wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't enough to like fully sustain the child, but that fatherly instinct kicked in, and I'm not saying it happens every day in every way, but the human body is made for survival. And the human body, if you choose to procreate, is made to be a protection for what you produce.
Yeah, girl, because I'm looking it up right now. Well, the thing blurs it out, so can't really see it. But I'm looking it up right now, girl, because I was like, what?
Yeah. And my thing is, just like, because society has told women to shave their body's head to toe, baby, we all are covered in hair. We all covered in some type of hair. And if you choose to shave or not, don't. Because let me tell y'all a quick story time before we break for the ad, and then we get into this Oceangate stuff. There was a woman that, before I went into business for myself, first of all, I thought she was one of the most gorgeous creatures inside and out I've ever met.
Oh, excuse me, I beg your pardon.
And then there was one day, because where we worked, they had a gym, and I would pick her up and we would go to the gym together. And it was just a great bonding moment. And because we're both mothers and everything else, this was like, yeah, I know we were at the gym, but it was the one time before work that we could just woo-saw, and we were doing something for ourselves. And it was the first time I saw her in shorts, and I was like, girl, why you got your pantyhose on? And she said, I ain't got no pantyhose on. She's like, I don't wear pantyhose. She's like, just like you don't. And I was like, what you? I said, I know you do. You wear pantyhose with a little bit of tint on them. I see you every day, because she liked to wear like the dresses and stuff like that. She said, no, I don't. She never shaved her legs. And the way her hair fell, and the compared to her complexion and the color of her hair, it looked like she had on pantyhose with a little bit of tint. So then my thing was like, oh shoot, that's how our legs look if we don't shave. So I was like, I ain't gonna shave. That did not work out for me. It did not work out that way for me. Okay. My hair evidently on my legs does not grow in uniformly. Okay. So it looked like somebody beat me with a baseball bat upon my legs, especially the calf region. So I couldn't do that no more. But a lot of y'all are attracted to women. And I've said this before, that there's a friend of mine whose mother, I grew up the street from them. And we were so close that my child and his sister's oldest child, they have the same name. We just reversed the order of the names. Their mother, I think the most feminine thing about her, to me, till this day, is her mustache. because she used to trim it up and she had this lavender lipstick that she wore and it worked. It went together. It was so feminine on her. But like I said, we're going to take a pause for the cause and we're going to get into this Oceangate. And I had to break down the Oceangate into different categories because we need to talk about Oceangate, the history behind that's connected to Oceangate, the billionaire son behind Oceangate. There's going to be several categories. So don't get mad. We're going to address everything. We're just going to break it into categories. Okay. We're just breaking it into categories. Don't blow up my DMs going, you didn't get to the as I always tell y'all, wait to the end of the show. Y'all be doing too much. All right.
I don't dance, I just float, 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 float. I don't dance, I just float, 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 float. I just float. I'm light as a feather, I'm light as a feather. Yeah, baby, I float. It's hard to look at my resume and not find a reason to toast. She throwing that thing in a circle, making it viral. I might just elope. Say, listen.
Watch any of my hotel safety videos. I've talked about that tool in every video. You can get it anywhere off the internet for about 30 bucks. It's supposed to be an emergency tool. It's basically a burglary tool. You can roll up a medium-sized towel and put it between the door and the handle. It makes it more difficult, but it's not foolproof. This is Saber's adjustable security bar alarm. You can use it to brace the door or a sliding glass door. Sliding glass doors are a huge vulnerability. No hotel room doors, Fort Knox. Our goal is to delay them and make them have to make enough noise to not only does it wake you up, it wakes up the whole hallway. This is Saber's door wedge alarm. I carry this in my carry-on everywhere I go. You set this just inside the door, and if somebody opens the door, it sets off the alarm, and it is loud. They also make one you hang on the door handle. It's sensitive to vibration. Both alarms are TSA friendly. They go through TSA no problem. This is Saber's pepper light. It can go in a checked bag. Whether at home or away, this thing sits on my nightstand. It's a strong flashlight and pepper spray all in one. A flashlight and pepper spray always complement more robust self-defense items. All these can be found in my Amazon store by going here. And if you don't see my content as often as you like, you can follow me at these other places too. I also put my travel safety videos in a playlist in case you missed one. Be aware and be safe.
Now, I often talk to you all about safety. I do not care if you're male, female, non-binary, asexual. I do not care. I do not care. We all need to stay safe. Also, there is a lock that you can get off of Amazon. You put it, I don't know what it's called, but you know, a little thing that when you turn the doorknob, it goes in. I don't know the official name for it. I know, shocking.
Deadbolt?
And then you put it in and it locks. And even if somebody does that, they can't get the door open because unless you physically from the other side pull it out and they don't know that it's there. And even with that little hooky thing, they can't get it out. I know this because I recommended it to a relative of mine who has a small child that was like opening doors and getting out of stuff. So they needed something that he couldn't get out of. And we even tried that. And I was like, okay, what if he gets a hold of this when you have it out of the door and he locks himself in his room? I went in the room. They tried to get it open. You can't get it open. Once again, these are methods, self-defense methods. Let me be 100% clear with y'all, is to delay until other people can get help or provide help to you. And the biggest thing is I need y'all to go back. I guess it's now considered old school. I need y'all to go back to the 90s. Put your fucking phones down. Stop recording everything and go up and be an advocate for that person. Stop saying that you're an ally, an advocate, an accomplice, and everything else if all you're doing is sitting there taking a video. Because if the cops are whooping my ass or some random dude that couldn't take me saying, no, thank you, I'm not interested, is trying to snatch me up, you taking a video is going to do what? It's going to do great in court, but you can't resurrect me, boo. You can't heal the physical and emotional scars that I've gone through because you're just standing there like this. But let's get into this Oceangate. We're going to go through what happened between last night and tonight. We'll talk about it, and then we'll get to the next category.
A good friend of Hamish Harding, the billionaire on board the missing sub, pulled out of joining his friend on the expedition over safety concerns. And he's not the only one to raise an alarm over safety issues. Chris Brown, age 61, had paid the 10% deposit to go on the voyage, but did not end up going. According to a report by The Sun, Brown became concerned by the quality of technology and the materials used in the vessel, despite being one of the first people to sign up for the trip when the sub was still being developed. Among his concerns was Oceangate's use of old scaffolding poles for the sub's ballast, and that the sub is controlled by a computer game-style controller. Ultimately, he decided the risks were too high, and asked for a refund. Brown also notes that he is really upset about his friend, and revealed that he and Harding had signed up after sharing a few beers while on holiday at Sir Richard Branson's Necker Island. He adds that Harding is extremely calm, and will be giving hope to other passengers. But Brown isn't the only one to raise the alarms on safety. In 2018, David Lockridge, the former director of marine operations for the company, was fired after he expressed concern over the sub's safety. Oceangate then sued him, accusing him of breaching his NDA. Lockridge filed a counterclaim lawsuit against Oceangate claiming wrongful termination, and accused the company of ignoring his safety assessment of the Titan's design, which he believed needed additional testing. Another former employee who worked with the company in 2017 separately noted similar safety concerns over the sub. Stay with Daily Mail for more updates.
Real quick, have y'all noticed how many of these millionaires and billionaires do the payment plan route? They're putting down deposits and asking if they can pay over months, but they don't want you to be able to do that without high interest rates. And how they love to ignore safety protocols. Huh? Just me? Okay.
Well, this tweet was going viral earlier from Kate Gardner regarding the missing Titanic sub. So since we're all obviously all in on this story, figured it was worth reading. She said, I texted my engineer dad about the Titan, and this is his reply. Morbid to say the least, so warning. Hope it's been near at the surface where it can be found more easily. I think if it's that deep, there's no hope. Haven't seen much discussion of any emergency plans to jettison, blast, and rise to the ocean surface. I don't think there's any tech that exists for it, for that matter. Horribly unsafe design, no navigation system, poor communication system, exposed thrusters, no inflatable flotation collar once it rises, limited air supply, locked in, no way to get out, no way to get fresh air when on the surface, unless they were near the mothership that could unlock the 17 bolts. Also, keep in mind that even some things were not totally certified for those depths. They make you sign a crazy waiver beforehand. Or they did. This will never happen again, obviously. And then this is where it gets a little bit darker. Interesting choices about life and death and air. Enough air for 5 people for 4 days, or enough air for 1 person for 20 days. Who goes first, and why, and when, and I guess how, when you realize you need more than 4 days to be saved? Does the irresponsible CEO go first? Does the billionaire offer to give billions to those who take their lives? Yikes. My first thought, and something I saw iterated in the comments, was around decomposition of the body, but then again, they wore lots of layers, they were prepared for the cold, so if somebody did, then they could potentially strip them of clothes so that that would stop the decomposition process. Crazy stuff.
Before we continue, the money aspect would be viable if you had poor people on there. But how do you bribe a millionaire? How do you bribe a millionaire? And how do you promise somebody money to take their lives? Because y'all are the only ones that knew that the agreement was there. And you have a bunch of people who do that on the regular, trying to negotiate with one another. But let's continue.
So Sky News is reporting that the debris field that was found in search for the submarine DIY submarine was a landing frame and a rear cover from the submersible. Bitch, that thing imploded. Let's read the update. A rescue expert said the debris found in the search for Titan was a landing frame and a rear cover from the submersible. David Mearns, who is friends with the two of the passengers on board Titan, said he is part of a WhatsApp group involving the Explorers Club. A WhatsApp group? Mr. Mearns told Sky News the president of the club, who is directly connected to the ships on the site, said to the group it was a landing frame and a rear cover of the submersible. Mr. Mearns says, again, this is an unconventional submarine. That rear cover is the pointy end of it, and the landing frame is the little frame that it seems to sit on. So, hang on, let's look at the picture again. So, if we're accurate, basically, this back part is essentially taken out, meaning that it either imploded or it flooded and they drowned. Just, yeah, this is a recovery mission at this point.
So CBS News has just announced that the U.S. Coast Guard had announced that Oceangate can no longer be recovered. Now, according to the U.S. Coast Guard, this occurred because a catastrophic loss of their pressure chamber had occurred. The U.S. Coast Guard had announced that they had found debris near the sea floor, right around where the Titanic had been sunken. Coast Guard Rear Admiral John Mauger said, "This is an incredibly unforgiving environment down there on the sea floor, and the debris is consistent with a catastrophic explosion of the vessel." And they quoted it by saying, "On behalf of the U.S. Coast Guard and their entire unified command, I offer my deepest condolences to the family. I can only imagine what this has been like for them, and I hope that this discovery provides some solace during this difficult time." And of course, you guys know because all week they've been trending, but here are the 5 missing passengers on that vessel. Now, officials had previously said that they had limited oxygen on board, which was about 96 hours worth of oxygen. Now, that information was completely dispelled by the Coast Guard today when they realized that because of the cabin pressure release, they had died on impact. This story is incredibly sad for all the people lost on board, including Solomon DeWood, who was only in college. It's just tragic.
He was only in college being prepped to do the same thing. But I do have some breaking news. This came out right before we started the podcast tonight. The United States Navy admitted to hearing the implosion on Sunday of the at Oceangate expedition Titan. I stated for the past several days that the Navy hears everything used to due to a classified underwater microphone monitoring system. They heard the implosion and failed to act. That comes from Austin Ayers. First of all, y'all can call me cold-hearted all you want. Who gives a shit? When they were like, well, we hear 30-minute intervals of knocking. Knocking on what? I told y'all I was leery last night. Knocking on what? So you heard them implode. So instead of putting those resources to go get those migrants on the capsized wreckage near Greece, because this was an international effort, once again, y'all showed why we should not give a fuck about the top 1%. I mean, we already know they don't give a fuck about us. It's just you broke billionaires that are just waiting for that money to magically appear in your bank accounts. Y'all have sympathy for them. And you motherfuckers that is a step away from being a part of this 1%, y'all want us to have so much sympathy for them, but y'all don't have sympathy for shit else. Once again, please reference the links in the description of this video. But these are the same people who will lobby against humanity. These are the same people who are super selective over who grooms their children, who grooms their pets. Not even they don't even give a fuck about their children. They don't even give a fuck about each other. We're going to get to that in a minute. But y'all want us to have so much sympathy that they died. And these are the same people who want student loan forgiveness shut down, who want affirmative action cut down and want to blame Black people for it. Same people that shut down the Navajo irrigation system, the same people who wanted to take ICWA away, the same people who don't want you to have Social Security or Medicaid, the same people who don't want your kids to be able to get free lunch.
Can I just say, and I mean this with my entire chest, and I do not care. I want to punch Brett Kavanaugh in his throat.
Oh, let's not forget about Alito. Let's not forget about Amy Coney Barrett. Let's not forget about Clinton. Isn't it amazing that everybody that's from the traditional household crowd, they're giving me the impression that a traditional household means being hypocritical, a fake Christian, fake religious, and taking bribes.
Because here's the thing. These treaties have been in existence for the last 150 years, probably longer than that. You know, again, they're counting from this year's reckoning of actually recognizing it. And I'm just like, you don't own anything. I don't know how much louder I have to say it.
You don't own me.
I knew she was gonna go there. I knew she was gonna go there. And
you don't own me.
Not the dance.
Not the choreography.
Not the dance. The shenanigans. Anyway.
Yeah, I am a first wife, okay? I mean, too bad he can't have a second wife, because I mean, he could if they got a Ouija board. It ain't my fault he died. Shouldn't have been evil.
Shh.
No, I'm just well divorced and separated when he kicked the bucket.
I'm just like, not only have you put money in a trust for these people, saying that someday, some way, somewhere out there, over the rainbow, and every other idiosyncrasy shenanigans they try to put out right here.
Somewhere out there.
Leave 5 alone. Leave 5 alone. Leave 5 alone.
That's a bop. That is a bop.
I know it's a bop. Leave 5 out of this. But you put the money in a trust for them that they can't touch, they can't move, they can't do anything with it. It's just sitting there collecting interest. I couldn't think of the word for a second, like it totally escaped my brain. But then you turn around and tell them that they don't have a right to clean water. Excuse me, sir?
No, it's because the rich people don't pay any taxes, so they don't have the money to properly do this. And instead of saying, hey, we screwed up because we want to keep rich people. But these same rich people, y'all once again, check out the links in the description of this video. Stop thinking that wealth equates to intelligence.
It really doesn't.
Because everybody keeps talking about the waiver. Y'all know y'all girl dug and dug and dug until she found somebody who signed the waiver. And the CEO is dead, so he can talk about it. Want to hear it? Here you go.
A man who visited the Titanic wreckage in the same submersible that is now missing in the Atlantic has revealed the jarringly extensive waiver passengers were forced to sign before going on the expedition. Among the paperwork shown to potential passengers was a waiver which stated, "This experimental vessel has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body and could result in physical injury, emotional trauma, or death." He added, "This is not to say it's a shoddy ship. It's just all new technology and they're learning it as they go along. You have to remember the early days of the space program or the early days aviation, where you make a lot of mistakes on the way to figuring out what you're doing. Unlike submarines that leave and return to port under their own power, submersibles require a ship to launch and recover them." The writer said when he boarded the boat which takes passengers to the Titanic, a list is given to passengers which reveals they might not return from the trip. The only training Mr. Rice received before the trip was how to get into a survival suit. Beautifully designed inside, it feels sort of like a waiting room at a spa, quiet and comfortable. The descent took about 2.5 hours. The sub is very, very simple, Mr. Rice said. You basically push it in the water and it sinks like a stone, so it hits bottom and then you sail around and you're sort of powered by engines that look like desktop fans. He found the journey so peaceful that he fell asleep. The sub is operated using a video game controller. It's not high-tech, Mr. Rice noted, adding that on his trip, when they hit the ocean floor, the sub was only 500 yards away from the wreckage, where it has laid since the 12th of April, 1912. But we didn't know where and the compass stopped working, Mr. Rice told the paper. We spent about 90 minutes just hunting around trying to find the Titanic, but it's just so dark down there. They stumbled on the wreckage with only 20 minutes left to look at the ship. That's just the luck of the draw. That's what you got. And you're at the mercy of weather and water and technical problems, Mr. Rice noted. The porthole to look at the ship is only slightly larger than a washing machine door. It's a very tiny vessel in a very big ocean, he added. It is built to go where no other vessel to go, so if it's stuck on the bottom of the ocean, I can't foresee a way out.
Stupid is as stupid does. So the fans that are equivalent to keeping your PC temperature under control is what they use. They don't use any type of crane, anything that's proper to get craft into the water. So it could encounter damage just being pushed off into the water, and you just allow it to sink like a rock sinking down into a glass of water. They're not even regulating how you go down. So you could end up with the suds.
And here's our lovely control right here for you folks.
That's not even the controller that they use. They use the cheap off-brand project. First of all, and this is why I say, I've said this before, and you've witnessed me say it, cousin.
I know.
Old money, chimps on money that they should actually spend. And these people are so bored and so disconnected that they put the. Why do y'all think white women will collect wildlife? Why do you think white people keep getting fucked up by wildlife going hiking? Black people hike too. Latine, and Hispanic people hike. Asian people hike. Native people hike. We don't get fucked up. Why? We don't try to take everybody home. We're not walking up to a cougar like, baby, you want to come home with me? No.
Also, can I weigh in on that just for one second?
Real quick, let me say this. Even with the ocean revolting, have y'all not noticed who the ocean is revolting against? The orcas ain't out here like, there's black people on that boat. Let me fuck it up. No. Look, Google the stories. Okay, I don't know what happened to cousin. We'll give him a minute to come back. But yeah, when you can rationalize to yourself, dying, a horrific death, by the way. But there is a historical link between Oceangate and the Titanic. I guess that's why the UK decided on their Channel 5 to put out a whole documentary on Ocean Link, and those. Never mind. Y'all just watch this.
You would think that everything going on with the Oceangate submarine couldn't get any crazier. Y'all, it has. The pilot of the submarine, Stockholm Rush, which is, I believe you're this dude or this dude right here. His wife, Wendy, is a descendant of 2 first-class passengers who died on the original Titanic. What in the Final Destination is this? What's crazier is that the movie Titanic made a fictionalized version of the couple for the movie. Are you serious? What in the angel of death? So your wife's ancestors passed on the actual Titanic, and you thought it would just be so cool just to go down there to the resting place. I want to know what the wife thought of it, because, oh my God. Y'all just pissed off them spirits, dear Lord.
First of all, white people are too lazy and too entitled to actually haunt anybody themselves. So what did you do to the wife for her to invoke her ancestors? Or was she just tired of your shit? And you really was just gonna risk it going down. And y'all know white girls love a good Ouija board. You know white girls love opening shit they ain't supposed to open. And you know white folks will get an old historical house and start opening up shit that been bricked up, nailed up, chained up, and open it up like, I don't know why this is happening. Y'all forget about Amityville? Did y'all forget that Amityville was based on something that really happened?
See, I live in that state where this happened. I suggest people stop going there. Please leave what is there alone. Please. Please. I'm begging you.
The Annabelle Alabasters can't help themselves. The Annabelle Alabasters can't help themselves. They go.
So what I was gonna say, did I freeze?
No, you just disappeared.
Good Lord. Because you froze like mid-sentence and I was like, hello? And then the second thing, white people, I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you've caught on. Because you really need to catch on. And we've been trying to tell you. Trying, like desperately, to tell you. Not everything is for you. Because obviously, the animals have caught on and they're like, you know what? These crazy mofos is just gonna try and take me home. So I'm gonna let them and then I'm gonna just fuck shit up.
When we say everything ain't for you, evidently community and family ain't for you. Because let's get into the stepson.
Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
Here we go.
Go ahead.
So you take a complete like Cardi B, has no idea what's going on. Her career is so in such turmoil, she needs clout off other people's suffering. And she's like, he won't go help. Blah, blah, blah. He goes to a rock concert, this and that. Tries to use the situation to exploit, like the news. They're not like feeling sorry that my mom has to take care of 2 kids. Not really giving a that my stepdad's probably 99% chance he's dead. That doesn't matter. Doesn't care how we feel. Just trying to like gains. People like trolling, getting hate mail, all these things. And it's just and to have Cardi B behind it. Cardi B, like, grow up, get some class. Like, you're tasteless.
It's like the story that just keeps on storying. So the billionaire Hamish Harding, who was lost under sea, his stepson, who went to that Blink-182 concert, has something to say. So listen up.
Here are the facts, okay? Believe it or not, I have about $100 to my name. I can't go out to the ocean. I have a legal situation keeping me here as well. I can't get on a flight. I don't have a passport. I was sitting here yesterday watching the news for 2 days straight. I go to a Blink-182 show because they have a ticket. It wasn't like I was having super fun. It wasn't like I was celebrating, having a great time. I was kind of just listening to some of my all-time favorite songs, kind of like nodding my head and just trying to get off the phone for like maybe like 2 hours or so and come right back into the drama. The submarine is stuck at the damn Titanic. There's nothing I can do for the situation at all. So that's the truth. So you take a complete like Cardi B, has no idea what's going on. Her career is so in such turmoil, she needs clout off other people's suffering. And she's like, he won't go help. Blah, blah, blah. He goes to a rock concert, this and that. Tries to use the situation to exploit, like the news. They're not like feeling sorry that my mom has to take care of 2 kids. Not really giving a that my stepdad's probably 99% chance he's dead. That doesn't matter. Doesn't care how we feel. Just trying to like make gains. People like trolling, getting hate mail, all these things. And it's just up. And to have Cardi B behind it, Cardi B, like, and grow up, get some class. Useless.
Now, he had a lot more to say, but you can actually check it out on his Instagram page because, honey, he was letting loose on y'all. And again, I told you guys if there's more updates in regards to his situation, right? Not the whole ship situation, because I don't know nothing about that, but we'll keep you posted.
Say night, guys. I did not think I would be back today, but here I am because Brian, he's been canceled. So just in case you missed my video earlier, this is Brian Sass, and he is the stepson of the missing billionaire, Hamish Harding, who is currently at the bottom of the ocean, allegedly for educational purposes only. So Brian has taken the tragedy that has befallen his stepfather really hard. He has been to Blink-182 concerts. He has posted on Twitter. He has been in touch with OnlyFans models. And now he is doing racisms on the Twitter, and he's been canceled. So if you're not caught up with the drama, Brian here went to a Blink-182 concert in San Diego, California on Sunday night, and he posted about it. And Cardi B done called him out. Well, then they started having beef on the Twitter, and other people got involved, and Brian wasn't smart enough to know that the internet always wins the log off. So after posting my video, I found out that Brian's not a nice guy. Like, he has threatened females, he has stalked females, as well as threatened mass violence at raves, allegedly for educational purposes only, and it's creepy. But now we find out not only is Brian a creep, he is a racist. Allegedly for educational purposes only. You know I gotta say that. But he's over there calling people the N-word on Twitter and saying that he can do it because of where he was born. And before he finally took the L and deleted his Twitter for doing racisms, he tried to defend it by saying that he could say that word because of where he grew up. And I just want to make something clear. I don't care if Brian here was born on Bill Street in Memphis, Tennessee during Black History Month. He cannot say that word. And in my last video, I said even though Brian's a grown man, that it looks like his parents need to put parental controls on his cell phone. And had they listened to me, we may not be here right now. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to let you know that Brian's a racist. And y'all have a good Wednesday night. And remember...
Have a good Wednesday night.
I also want to put some caveats in here. First of all, the children that his mother has to raise are 2 teenage boys. 2, Cardi B did not incite anything because he was getting backlash when he was originally posting just on Facebook because, you know, most people don't use Facebook all that often. So he thought that he could slide and talk about the Blink-182 concert and everything else on Facebook. And as you can tell, he has a Twitter, he has an Instagram, he has all these other social media platforms. And for him to say that he only has $100, that means he's completely living off his stepdaddy. But he's one of them kids that's like, you're not my real daddy. I don't give a fuck about you. Because he wasn't there for his younger siblings, nor his mama. Okay? And he claims he only has $100. But he was able to make it to the concert because he already had the ticket. How did you already have the ticket, boo-boo? And don't listen to how he's talking. When we say white people never have to grow up and black folks never have a childhood, that's him. That's if that was a person. And did you catch that he can't leave the state? Your boy is on probation. He's been stalking people, intimidating people, threatening people, you name it. And then for him to say that Cardi B needs clout off of him, sweetheart, you don't even have as many connections on Facebook as I do. What clout is she getting off of you? I checked all of your socials. As many times as you try to connect yourself with the rich and famous, your problem is you post the rich and famous that don't have a high profile, that nobody knows that they're rich and famous, which is cool because real money doesn't have to prove that they real money.
How many followers does he have on Twitter?
I don't even know. But he deleted his Twitter so quick.
Because she's clocking on Twitter, just Twitter alone, mind you. Not Instagram, not TikTok if she has one, not Facebook, just Twitter. At 30.5 million followers.
Who's clocking?
And Cardi.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, she's only following 124 people.
But
just throwing that out. Just throwing that out there.
So, in conclusion, I'm gonna just let this video play, and we'll talk about this video when it ends, because some of y'all need a reality check. Here we go.
How dare you try to tell me how I'm supposed to react to world events? All these morality police getting upset that people were making jokes about the hypothetical people trapped in a submarine. They found the debris field. They've been gone since early Sunday, before you even knew that that was happening. Their submarine imploded. They all died instantaneously. Nobody suffered. And then the rest of the world concocted a story of Schrodinger's submarine so that everyone could go, oh no, these poor billionaires. I'm so sorry that I don't feel particularly bad for some of the richest human beings on the planet who, at the expense of all the other humans, decided to spend their ill-begotten gains to get into a submersible that a con man who previously had been quoted as saying that safety regulations get in the way was a good idea, that they would descend to the bottom of the ocean to gawk at a graveyard for absolutely no reason other than to say that they did it, and that didn't go their way. One of them was one of the richest Pakistani men on earth, and instead of using his money to help rebuild his country, which just 1 year ago flooded almost a third, he decided it would be a better use of his funds to fly to a different part of the world with a flooded graveyard. Oh, and he took his son, the only person on the craft that I feel a little bad for, and also maybe the pilot. I don't know really what's going on there. I don't feel bad for billionaires. They're robber barons who got their ill-begotten wealth at the expense of everybody else on the planet and the planet. I don't feel bad for some people who have more money than sense because they got into a tube with absolutely no control mechanisms outside of a Game Boy controller and were like, yeah, I don't see how this could go wrong. And then it did. It went exactly as wrong as you would expect it to go. And people are like, well, they're down there and they're suffering. They're trapped in that tube. Can't you put yourself in their shoes? No. I've done some pretty stupid things in my life, but I've never done anything that stupid, and it didn't even happen. They died instantly. They had a more pleasant death than the rest of us are gonna have. We're all gonna burn to death as the planet continues to get hotter, and they instantaneously snapped out of existence. They weren't even aware that it was happening. And then the rest of us mobilized a huge chunk of the Coast Guard from 2 different countries, as well as any seagoing vessels in the area and several planes. So we wasted millions and millions of taxpayer dollars that could have been going to help, I don't know, any of the people that these billionaires are hurting, but instead it went to finding their gravesite, which is now conveniently trapped with the rest of the Titanic. Nobody believes your crocodile tears for billionaires. You're virtue signaling. You just want to tell everyone you're better than them. You're not. Billionaires are not better people because they have a bunch of money, and you're not a better person for pretending that's the case.
I keep telling y'all that the greatest United States tradition is pretending to be the moral superior. And also, let me point out a few things real quick, okay? Y'all need to stop cosplaying being a broke billionaire, because you will never be a billionaire. They will never look at you. They will never give you any respect. You have to realize old money, like what was on this bullshit, does not give a fuck about new money. Old money does not mingle with new money, okay? Not at all. Even when you become old money, according to not the 1% status, you're still not going to be old money to the old money that's up there, okay? Old money within the United States is slave money. Let me repeat that. Old money within the United States is slave money. So if your generational wealth did not start with that, they don't give a fuck. And I'm sorry, I don't even give a fuck about the 19-year-old that was up in there, because he is a legal adult. He looked at that paperwork and signed it for himself and was still like, yeah, daddy, I'm gonna come with you, because he was such a sycophant and guzzling his daddy's glizzy that he was just thinking, and this is the mindset of the 1%. I'm gonna get some extra points on top of my other siblings. He gonna leave me a bigger chunk in the inheritance. No, he won't. No, he won't. Did y'all not learn anything from Leona Hemsley? Them motherfuckers, y'all ain't loyal to each other. They will leave everything to their goddamn dog before they leave it to you. Let me repeat that. They will leave everything to their goddamn dog before they leave it to you. They don't like you motherfuckers. They just want you to be indebted to them and make sure that they don't die prematurely when all they shit don't work anymore because of all the stuff that they did, thinking that their money was going to make them invincible. What Trump is going through right now.
You know, I really want to know because I think it's true. I think it's honestly true. I think there's a painting in each and every one of their houses of them that's absorbing their shenanigans, and now it's just like, I'm done. I'm giving this back to you. I can't take no more. Here. And whatever's coming is coming.
First of all, white people don't check white people. White people don't.
No. You know the portrait of Dorian Gray. That's what I mean. That's what I'm referencing.
They don't hang those up in their houses. They collect them and put them in a vault because when they're able to collect things like that, it's illegal. So they're not going to put them on display because we all know they have about as much loyalty. They have about as much loyalty as a toddler in a candy store. None at all.
I'm just like, I just want to ask, did your portraits just say, you know what? Fuck you. I'm done protecting you. I'm done.
Their portraits don't protect them because they think about it. White people in general stage their online presence because look at the vast majority of family bloggers and mommy bloggers and daddy bloggers. They're white. They put out this persona. And let us not forget, not so many years ago, there was a woman in Texas that snapped and killed her whole family because they could no longer secure the image that she wanted to put out. And baby, trust me, I am related by marriage to a person who's like that. She'll throw everybody else under the bus. And for those of y'all watching that are related to me and y'all think that I'm the only one that she throws under the bus, no, baby, no. When she asking y'all them questions about all your business, trust me, it ain't just your business anymore. She taking it to everybody to cover for the shit that she don't want anybody to talk about when it comes to her kids. Because I bet you if you ask her what her son did and why he's the only person after boot camp that is not considered active duty, maybe ask her what happened in Tennessee twice. Maybe ask her what happened in Florida with him 4 times.
Girl, I'm already not allowed in Chattanooga.
Here's the thing. White folks, regardless of their status, the one thing that they believe puts them on the same level as a billionaire and connects all of them is moral superiority. When they know they don't have it, why you think they go so hard on us? Why do you think they go so hard on us? But final thoughts for the night?
I'm going to say this. White people, y'all have got a good 8 to 900 years of shenanigans, shade, betrayal, and everything else underneath the golden sun that y'all gonna have to give account for. And the earth is coming to collect.
They was there with Jesus. They think that when Jesus had to flee to the continent of Africa and he blended in so well with all of their alternative facts, they believe they got along.
So you got the video I sent you this morning.
No, I got the bullshit that they've been sprouting since I've been alive.
Like, first of all, I got the part that the whole Greek shenanigans fine. I was like, you proved that to me the other day. So I was like, fine, no problems. I ain't got no worries. But then when he came for JC, I was like, oh no, baby. We ain't gonna do that.
And here's the thing.
Because, baby, listen, the Bible contradicts everybody.
But we'll talk about that on another day. But here's the thing. I'm going to need y'all to stop understanding the difference between nationality, ethnicity, and race until you like somebody.
Oh, well, yeah, that would help.
Because as soon as y'all like somebody, y'all act like they all the same thing.
Really not.
And then you get mad when folks step out and say the same thing. Just like I need y'all to admit that if a mixed race individual, black and white, gets with a white partner, they've created a white child. Y'all might want to cancel me for this, but yeah, they did.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, by extension.
Stop trying to tell these kids that they black. Phenotypically, they are white. Genetically, they are white. Amber Rose, you've been a white woman your whole career. Then you got into the remake of College Hill, and all of a sudden you're mixed. No, bitch, no, bitch. No, no, no. No, Amber, no, Amber, no, Amber, no.
So, let's say somebody like me, who's black, but, because of this, people can't really tell half of the time anyway. Which probably explains why that woman asked me, did I go tanning? But that's a conversation for another day.
Because white people are fucking stupid.
I know it.
White people pay attention to complexion, and that's it. They don't pay attention to phenotypes. That's why obvious black people were able to pass in the South and become agents for the Union and get intel and walk their family members right up on out of slavery.
So if I got it with a person who's mixed and we had a baby, what would she be considered then? Or they be considered? You know what I mean?
Just like my Gigi babies, their mama is mixed. Now, technically, my son is also, but it's black and black. It's Afro-Caribbean with Afro-Latina. But what I'm saying is, there's a bunch of white people who are, my daddy is black. First of all, you need to ask your mama some questions, because a lot of y'all mamas ran to black men, but still taught y'all to be racist and have internalized racism.
That part.
Because a black man decided to step in and raise you, and they want to keep holding this story, and y'all white. This my dad. Where's your birth certificate? And this is why people are asking for your birth certificate, because we know, we black people know, we non-white people know phenotypes. And when you have zero African phenotypes, ain't no way you could ever be us. And y'all can be mad, but I'm tired of saying, and it's mostly little white girls. It ain't never the white boys. Because the white boys will be asking some questions and looking in the mirror and be like, oh, that's fucked up. Like, I might hang with such and such and such and such, but this ain't never happened in my household. I ain't never been exposed to this. But these white girls, my daddy is not your daddy. He's your stepdaddy. They just lied to you because they want to perpetuate some bullshit and not realize that they're making your stepdaddy, who stepped up in the in-between, look bad. Because they don't want to say that it was a white man that left you high and dry, because historically, across the globe, white men make babies and make single mothers at the same damn time.
I mean, if you look at all the slave
girlfriends, they wives, they'll leave babies with their mamas, their grandmamas. They don't give a fuck. And so do these white women. Because how many of you mixed bitches and you white bitches are out here that were raised by your grandmama that should have retired 60 years ago and been done raising you? And the thing about it is you keep running back to her house because she was too old to put everything into you because she got to go to sleep at 3 o'clock because her medicine kick in. But your mama owned meth, your sister owned meth, your daddy fucking everything in the goddamn county, not just the town, the county, and hanging out at the local watering hole, hoping that one of his former bitches get the tingling for the singling and will buy him some drinks. And I know we don't have time tonight, but I want to put this on your mind. How many of you white women married into black families because that was your only come up? That everything that you have is because of black folks.
I'm not in it.
Y'all think we don't see you? Y'all think we don't see you? Y'all think we don't know that the only way you can have a job is if we know the owner of the company, but you ain't gonna admit it? You want to try to white-splain to us and have all the Anglo audacity, but you don't know shit? I bet you don't even know that heat would crack glass. But as always, thank you all for watching. And once again, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Don't he look good for 25, y'all?
Child, if you don't stop.
They couldn't guess your age on the ticker talk. So I ain't gonna tell them your age. They still got to guess it. But as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. And y'all, the GOP is over Trump shit. Take a look.
One of my colleagues says, "We will hold members accountable." You are the party of George Santos. Who are you holding accountable? The guy is an alleged and acknowledged liar and indicted, and you protect him every day. Don't lecture us with your projection and your defense of Donald Trump. It's pathetic, and it's beneath you, and it's beneath this body, and I yield back.